if we have few observations, well, then the normal distribution curve becomes wider, like in this yellow case here. If we have a great number of observations, well, then our normal distribution curve becomes more narrow. So how can we use the number of observations that we have in order to adjust the standard deviation and the uncertainty of the mean? But of course, when you have few observations, you can't be very sure that the mean that you found is the correct mean if you have even more observations. So then there is a number Tx, which is named the student T factor. Student T is a name that the inventor, Mr. W.S. Gossett, developed when he developed this theory, he worked under the pseudonym student. So student T is an add-on number that we multiply with our normal distribution curve here in order to include the extra uncertainties that follows few observations. Example here. From our measurements, remember from the last film we had 9 observations and we had a standard deviation of 4.41. Uncertainty of the mean was 1.47 and the degrees of freedom was 8 because we had 9 measurements. From the student T table, this table is available on Wikipedia and of course other sources, but the Wikipedia one works. Now here comes this 0.95. This is the confidence level that we talked about early in the last film. With a confidence level of 95, if you want 95% of your measurements to fall within here, you have to multiply your standard deviation with the degrees of freedom of 8. You have to multiply it with 2.306. And if you want a confidence interval of 95, you also have to multiply the uncertainty of your mean with 2.306 with 8 observations. Of course, this table is much longer on Wikipedia, but I just found 5 important values here. First of all, the fewer observations we have, the fewer degrees of freedom that we have, the higher the multiplier. So this means that the uncertainty is even higher. Now, if we have an infinite number of degrees of freedom, then still we have to multiply with 1.960. That is because we now have a confidence level of 95. So 95% of our measurements should fall within here. Remember that one standard deviation had something like 65% within the curve. If you want 95, you have to multiply the standard deviation with 2.042. Then we have a confidence level of 95%. 95% certain that the number here is within our measurement. The sources that I used for this presentation: Justervesenet in Norwegian, Store Norske Leksikon Norwegian, a great article in the magazine Teknisk Ukeblad. So for our Norwegian students, you can click on this link and read that very good article here. And then you have the Wikipedia sources there. So good luck on your self-studies.